In a city filled with bright lights and hidden secrets, a single mistake could change everything. Meet Min Seo, a spirited girl who grew up in a cramped apartment, helping her mother run a small food stall. Each day was a hustle, her life woven with dreams of a better future that seemed just out of reach. One evening, with her friend Ji-yoon urging her to seize new experiences, Min Seo reluctantly agrees to a blind date at an upscale restaurant. Dressed in borrowed clothes that make her feel out of place, she balances a mixture of hope and anxiety as she steps into a world that feels miles away from her reality. As she scans the lavish surroundings and elegantly dressed patrons, an unexpected twist occurs. She mistakenly sits at a table reserved for Jung-hoon, the elusive CEO of her company. He is charming and confident, instantly captivating the attention of everyone around him. His surprise morphs into intrigue as he finds himself drawn to Min Seo's authenticity amidst the polished pretense that envelops them. Oblivious to his true identity, Min Seo speaks freely about her life, dreams, and struggles, their chemistry charged and electric. Patrons whisper and cast curious glances, unsure of what to make of this unexpected pairing, yet captivated by the spontaneity. As the dinner unfolds, the chemistry between them flares like a spark igniting dry wood. Their laughter fills the space, illuminating a moment that feels surreal. But trouble brews when Jung-hoon's ambitious rival, who has been watching them, seizes the opportunity to reveal Jung-hoon's identity with a mocking smile, suggesting he only flirts with simpler girls to escape the burdens of his corporate life. The atmosphere shifts instantly. Min Seo feels humiliated, confusion fogging her mind as a wave of anger rises within her. Why would he use her as a fleeting escape, a mere distraction? Panic surges through her as she darts from the table, heart racing, leaving a stunned Jung-hoon and a crowd of wide-eyed onlookers behind. Undeterred, Jung-hoon stands to follow, desperation etched on his face. However, Min Seo's resolution strengthens with every step. She refuses to be just another name on a list, a casual fling, and dismisses any thought of a man playing with her feelings for his amusement. She heads home, determination fueling her steps, while a nagging longing for the connection they shared tugs at her heart. Left alone to contemplate his emotions, Jung-hoon realizes the depths of his feelings for her. His heart aches as he watches her walk away, regret mingling with the pressures that define his life. Days stretch into a lonely week, filled with meetings that feel increasingly hollow, his friends advising him to forget her, calling her a distraction he cannot afford. Yet thoughts of Min Seo become a balm for his aching heart, her laughter echoing in his mind, cutting through the noise of his life. In a moment of vulnerability, he confides in his closest friend, revealing how she made him laugh and how, for the first time, someone has seen the man behind the title. Unable to shake her from his mind, Jung-hoon gathers his courage, determined to find her. He makes his way to the food stall where Min Seo's mother serves her customers, the family magic swirling in the air. When he finally spots her, drenched in the warmth of her normalcy, his heart rates as their eyes connect, and an avalanche of unsaid emotions rushes between them. Min Seo's resolve wavers as she sees him. She had tried to bury those feelings, yet the sight of him rekindles the spark of hope and possibility she thought she lost. Jung-hoon kneels before her, sincerity radiating from him as he pours his heart out, his loneliness, the burdens of his world, and his regret over their first encounter. Min Seo listens, torn between anger and the undeniable affection swelling in her chest. His plea for a chance at genuine love, a love that defies social norms, sparks illumination in her mind. She realizes then that love knows no maps or borders. It blooms wherever it finds room to breathe. As they navigate life together, they become allies against societal expectations, strengthened by their love. Every meeting deepens their bond, and the challenges they face, family disapproval, judgmental glances, begin to feel less daunting when confronted together. Min Seo slowly learns to appreciate the nuances of Jung-hoon's reality, while he finds himself buoyed by her resilience and the light she brings into his life. As their connection solidifies amidst the challenges, they discover that real wealth lies in genuine love, one that transcends societal constructs. As they stand hand in hand, poised to face the world, They know that love, genuine and effervescent, is worth every obstacle in their path. The warmth of hope settles around them, whispering of limitless possibilities. Stay tuned for the upcoming episodes, where we dive deeper into their captivating journey filled with twists, heartfelt moments, and unyielding romance. Don't miss out on the drama that will leave you breathless. Subscribe now. In a twist of fate, the wrong table could lead to the right love. Min Seo, a bright young woman with big dreams, has spent her life scraping by, working part-time at a mailroom to help her struggling family. Despite the weight of responsibilities on her shoulders, she carries an unyielding spirit that lights up every room. When her glamorous friend Ji-yoon convinces her to go on a blind date at a glitzy restaurant, Min Seo's initial excitement quickly morphs into anxiety. Dressed in borrowed attire that feels foreign against her skin, she steps into a world of luxury that seems to mock her humble beginnings. As she nervously navigates through the lavish setting, a slip of fate leads her to sit at the table reserved for Jung-hoon, the mysterious and charismatic CEO of her company, who unbeknownst to her has been observing her every move from afar. He is everything she is not: wealthy, influential, and burdened by expectations. Initially, they are both caught off guard. He expects a polished guest, while she had prepared for a casual encounter. Min Seo's genuine laughter rings out like music, drawing Jung-hoon in despite the circumstances. The chemistry crackles between them, and their conversation flows effortlessly, a refreshing contrast to the phony interactions surrounding them. However, the evening quickly spirals when one of Jung-hoon's colleagues recognizes him. "Why are you wasting your time with a girl from the mailroom?" he jeers, smirking at Min Seo as if she were an insignificant accessory. Min Seo's cheeks flush with embarrassment, feeling exposed under the spotlight of judgment. The warmth of their connection is shattered as she bolts from the table, the pain of being judged weighing heavily on her heart. She dismisses the idea that someone like Jung-hoon could genuinely be interested in her. As she escapes into the dimly lit streets, her breath comes in heavy bursts, anger and humiliation coursing through her. Meanwhile, Jung-hoon is left behind, grappling with an unexpected void in her absence. The laughter they shared plays hauntingly in his mind. His carefully constructed world feels exceptionally lonely without her bright spirit to light it up. Determined, he pushes aside the weight of corporate responsibilities to seek her out. Days turn into torturous weeks as he realizes that his heart longs for the authenticity she embodies. Finally, he finds Min Seo at her mother's food stall, the familiar scents of grilled meat and spices surrounding her like a warm embrace. She is busy serving customers, her face radiating a sparkle that drives away his worries. He steps in, hoping to bridge the chasm that had opened between them. "Min Seo," he breathes, his voice steady yet filled with emotion. She freezes, the tumult of emotions swirling within. "I am not here to prove or explain myself, but to say I am drawn to you. Please let me show you who I am." His sincerity softens her anger, sparking a glimmer of hope. As they engage in tender back and forth, their conversation flows like an unresolved melody, each note carrying the weight of their struggles. They discuss their dreams, fears, and moments when they felt lost within their worlds. A forgotten warmth envelops them, drawing them closer. A feeling Jung-hoon had chased through endless board meetings and cold interactions. He expresses a wish for a deeper connection, an invitation into a relationship that would stand against societal norms. Together, they discover that love can thrive in the most unexpected places, igniting the courage to face their families and the world that would tear them apart. Weeks roll by as their lives intertwine like delicate threads. Min Seo gets to know Jung-hoon's battles against familial obligations while juggling corporate expectations, and he learns to admire her resilience in the face of life's challenges. Every stolen moment they share is filled with laughter and glances that hold unspoken promises. Min Seo realizes he does not just love the idea of her, he genuinely sees her. A bond formed in vulnerability is strengthened by the whispered secrets of two worlds colliding. Tragedy looms when Jung-hoon faces sudden pressure from his family to marry someone appropriate, an heiress who aligns with their social stature. The anguish he feels while grappling with his family's expectations reaches a breaking point as he asks Min Seo to meet them, caught in their suffocating grip. "I love you, but I can't fight them alone," he admits, vulnerability spilling forth, tears shimmering in his gaze. In their parting moment, Min Seo learns that love doesn't promise an easy road, but it gives the strength to embrace battle scars. Understanding dawns upon her as she finally admits, "We will face them together." The two climb the steps of their separate lives, ready to confront insurmountable odds. It's their turn to rewrite the script of their own love story. Their journey toward acceptance, filled with laughter, struggles, and promises, paints a picture of hope against the backdrop of their changing worlds. Subscribe to our channel so you won't miss the heartwarming moments and twists that await in the next episodes, where love conquers all. A simple mistake could lead to a life-changing romance. Min Seo was a young woman with dreams drifting in the currents of her modest life, woven into the humble fabric of her mother's food stall. Every day felt the same. Wake up early, serve customers, and tread carefully through a world that often overlooked her. Her best friend, Ji-yoon, always tried to pull her into new experiences, but Min Seo never saw herself as worthy of much outside her daily grind. However, this day was different. When Ji-yoon convinced her to join a blind date at a high-end restaurant, Min Seo relented, unaware that destiny was about to intervene in a way she could never have imagined. The restaurant was lavish, glowing with chandeliers and laughter that made Min Seo feel out of place in the borrowed dress that hung awkwardly on her frame. As she navigated through the crowd, anxiety consumed her thoughts. But amidst the clinking glasses and swirling chatter, she tripped, catching the eye of a man seated at a nearby table. Jung-hoon was not just any man. He was the CEO of the company where Min Seo worked part-time, a figure cloaked in power and prestige. Unbeknownst to her, he had been observing her all evening, captivated by the warmth emanating from her spirit. Caught in misunderstanding, Min Seo accidentally perched herself at Jung-hoon's table, and in that instant, sparks ignited. Their conversation began hesitantly, but soon flowed like a melody, rich with humor and hope. She shared stories of her family's struggles, and Jung-hoon, in turn, opened up about the weight of expectations he faced as a CEO. As the night progressed, laughter filled the air, weaving a soft blanket around their hearts, shielding them from the judgmental eyes of others. Everything felt perfect, until a sudden interruption shattered their bubble. Jung-hoon's rival, a sleek corporate shark, immediately recognized him and sneered, "What do you see in someone from the mailroom?" The barbed words cut through the evening, leaving Min Seo stunned and humiliated. The laughter died in her throat as she felt the eyes of the restaurant boring into her. Surging anger and betrayal rushed to her head. She stood up abruptly, leaving behind a flabbergasted Jung-hoon, who reached for her with a desperate look in his eyes. The walls of expectation closed around them, trapping her within the confines of her societal station. In an emotionally charged escape, Min Seo rushed out into the cool night air, choking back tears. All her insecurities swelled as she questioned the sanity of what had just transpired. She gathered her thoughts, convinced herself this was only a fleeting moment, meant for the likes of others, not her. Meanwhile, Jung-hoon sat at the table, his heart clenched in despair. He had never felt such a connection, and he knew he couldn't let one careless jab ruin everything. Days passed without contact, but Jung-hoon couldn't shake Min Seo from his mind. His life, filled with meetings and financial forecasts, rushed by in a blur of monotony, highlighting the emptiness that now invaded his soul. He found himself wandering through the food stalls near Min Seo's home, drawn by a magnetic pull he could neither explain nor resist. Finally, there she was, bending over a grill, her hair falling in soft waves as she served a customer. She looked vibrant and real, a stark contrast to the high-rise offices that dominated his life. Approaching her was daunting, yet he forged ahead, heart pounding. "Min Seo," he called gently, and she froze, eyes widening in surprise and uncertainty. "I know I messed up," he continued, sincerity dripping from every word. "But I can't let you go without telling you how I truly feel." Min Seo met his gaze, and for a moment, time stood still. Memories of their laughter flickered in her mind, battling against the scars of humiliation she felt from the other night. She wanted to trust him, to leap into the embrace of vulnerability he offered. Yet hesitation stung like ice. "Why me?" she asked, voice low and edged with emotion. Jung-hoon stepped closer, determination etched on his face. "Because you see the real me beneath everything. You make me feel human in a world that demands perfection." Their hearts raced in tandem as a whisper of hope sprang to life, nurtured by connection and understanding. But as their love began to blossom, conflict sharpened the air. Jung-hoon faced pressure from his family to marry someone wealthy and influential, someone who matched their status. Torn between his love for Min Seo and the looming expectations, he felt trapped. "If I follow their wishes, I'll lose everything," he confessed late one evening, eyes searching hers for assurance. "But I can't bear to lose you." Tears pooled in Min Seo's eyes as she realized how deeply he cared, even if the road ahead felt steep. This ignited a fire within her. She wasn't willing to stand on the sidelines of life. "I won't be a secret or a burden," she stated firmly, resolve shining like a beacon. Together they embarked on an emotional journey, breaking through their fears and familial boundaries. They shared moments of joy in between confronting their realities, and each confession drew them closer. Their fight became not just about love, but about finding themselves amidst the chaos surrounding them. As they stood side by side, facing the unknown together yet firmly, they knew their love story was far from over. It was just beginning. Catch the next episode to follow Min Seo and Jung-hoon as they navigate the stormy waters of love against the tides of expectation. Subscribe now and don't miss their heartfelt journey filled with joy, struggle, and discovery. One wrong table can lead to the right kind of chaos. Min Seo stood nervously at the entrance of a glamorous restaurant, shifting her weight from one foot to the other. She always felt out of place in such opulence, especially when her regular days revolved around serving customers at her mother's bustling street food stall. Brushing aside the discomfort, she took a deep breath, determined to make the best of a blind date her friend Ji-yoon had set up, hoping for a fleeting moment of distraction from her everyday routine. As she stepped inside, the air enveloped her like a soft blanket, filled with laughter and the clinking of silverware. She scanned the room, her heart pounding at the sight of the elegantly dressed patrons. Suddenly, drawn by nerves and excitement, she mistakenly approached a table that seemed empty. Taking a seat, Min Seo caught the eye of Jung-hoon, the unexpected occupant, who happened to be the CEO of her company, the very man she had idolized from afar. He was handsome, with an aura that radiated confidence and mystery. Jung-hoon's eyes widened in surprise, shifting from his phone to the girl at his table, who was completely unaware of the mistake. He had been seeking a moment of peace from the relentless demands of his job, but it was hard to ignore the magnetism of Min Seo's cheerful demeanor. With a hint of amusement, he decided to play along, introducing himself casually. Their conversation ignited with laughter and shared stories, contrasting sharply with the cold business discussions he was accustomed to. The chemistry was electric, a spark that danced between them in the air of luxury and expectation. Min Seo's laughter thrummed like music in their surroundings. However, as the evening progressed, the moment soured when one of Jung-hoon's entitled colleagues interrupted them, recognizing him and cruelly sneering. "What a surprise, CEO dating a girl from the mailroom." The words hung in the air, brutally piercing through the bliss of their connection, shattering Min Seo's confidence in an instant. She felt a wave of humiliation wash over her. Anger surged through her, propelling her to stand up and leave as embarrassment burned in her cheeks. Jung-hoon reached for her arm, a sense of desperation in his eyes. "Min Seo, wait!" he called after her, but she were already weaving through the crowd, her heart racing, overwhelmed. Once outside, she pressed against the cool facade of the building, gasping for breath. The juxtaposition of their worlds, a CEO and a struggling girl, felt impossible. She fought to convince herself that they could never be more than a fleeting moment. In that storm of emotions, it felt like fate laughing at her naivety. Meanwhile, Jung-hoon stood frozen, torn between the sharp bite of reality and the warmth of the laughter they had shared. Something unnameable within him shifted, igniting a determination to seek her out. Days passed, but Min Seo couldn't shake the encounter from her mind. Every time she walked past her mother's stall and served weary customers, she caught herself dreaming of Jung Hoon's warm smile, the way he had looked at her as if she were the only one in the room. The idea of approaching him again seemed both thrilling and terrifying. Yet, as she walked home one evening, her heart heavy with the disappointment of their parting, she stumbled upon Jung Hoon waiting for her, leaning against a lamppost. "Min Seo," he greeted, standing up straight, determination etched in his features. She nearly gasped at the sight of him, a mixture of surprise and regret flooding her senses. How had he managed to find her? In that moment, their worlds collided once more, this time igniting a fierce current between them. "I want to know you," he said seriously, his voice strong yet vulnerable. "Not the CEO and the girl from the mailroom, but just us." Min Seo hesitated. The walls of insecurity began to close in again, but Jung Hoon reached for her hand, grounding her. "I don't care about the differences. What matters is what I feel when I'm with you." Those words fortified her wavering resolve, encouraging her to consider a world where their secrets mingled without judgment. As they spent time together, their lives intertwined like blooming flowers. Jung Hoon revealed the pressures of his world, his family wanting him to marry into wealth, hoping it would secure their status, while he longed for authenticity. Min Seo shared her struggles, fears, and dreams, her heart blooming anew under Jung Hoon's attentive gaze. Their love grew alongside challenges that threatened their happiness, breaking down boundaries. One evening, amid the haunting echoes of music from a nearby festival, he took her hands in his, eyes shining with intention. "Let's show them love doesn't recognize borders," he urged. Min Seo's heart swelled with hope as his passion infused her with bravery. But the conflict deepened when Jung Hoon faced intense pressure from his family to conform. As he stood at a crossroads, he knew that shaking off the expectations would mean risking it all. "I can either follow their path or forge my own," he declared, uncertainty painting his features. "And I choose you." Min Seo felt a warmth bloom in her chest, realization dawning upon her. They were meant to be, and love was worth any fight. Their journey was unfolding, filled with burdens and laughter, as they vowed to navigate the storms together, proving that true love could rise above societal chains. Don't miss the next episode of their captivating journey as they face family expectations, societal pressure, and the enduring strength of love. Subscribe now and join Min Seo and Jung Hoon as they discover what it truly means to fight for their happiness. A simple mistake could change the course of two lives forever. Min Seo stood nervously outside the chic restaurant, the weight of the evening pressing against her chest. Her heart raced as she clutched the strap of her purse, reminders of her modest life swirling through her mind. She had worked countless hours at her mother's street food stall, saving every penny for a chance to experience something beyond her ordinary existence. When her friend Ji-yoon convinced her to join a blind date in a world of wealth she didn't belong to, Min Seo hesitated but finally agreed, hoping for a little magic in the drudgery of her routine. With each step into the restaurant, she felt smaller and smaller, surrounded by elegantly dressed couples and lavish decor. Her borrowed dress didn't quite fit, and she felt out of place amidst the laughter and luxury. Taking a deep breath, Min Seo steeled herself, prepared to make the best of things. But then, in a fateful misstep, she took a seat at the wrong table, one meant for Jung Hoon, the handsome and enigmatic CEO of her company. Unbeknownst to her, he had been observing her from a distance, captivated by her authentic spirit. Jung Hoon had his reasons for seeking refuge in this high-end restaurant, a chance to escape the relentless demands of his family and corporate life. When he looked up to find Min Seo sitting across from him, a spark of surprise lit up his eyes. She was different from anyone he had met, her radiance drawing him in like a moth to a flame. He decided to play along, testing the waters of this unexpected connection. Despite the lavish setting, a genuine conversation bloomed between them, revealing passions, dreams, and insecurities that transcended their social divides. Yet just as they were lost in each other's laughter, a rival CEO recognized Jung Hoon and interrupted, sneering, "Why are you here with someone from the mailroom?" The words sliced through the air, leaving Minseo feeling exposed and embarrassed. She stood up abruptly, her face burning with shame, wishing to disappear from the lavish dining room filled with judging eyes. "I'm sorry," she stammered, avoiding Jung-hoon's gaze as she quickly left, her heart heavy with rejection and disappointment. Jung-hoon watched her leave, a mix of shock and frustration churning within him. He had never intended for their connection to be marred by appearances and judgments. The laughter that had filled the space between them was replaced by an unshakable silence. Heart pounding, he bolted after her, calling out her name, but she was already lost in the night, the weight of her reality pressing down on her like a dense fog. Days turned into a blur for Minseo as she tried to shake off the bewildering encounter, returning to her everyday life. But each time she passed her mother's stall or looked at the vibrant city around her, she felt the fleeting warmth of Jung-hoon's presence wrapping around her like a bittersweet memory. Meanwhile, Jung-hoon battled with his own emotions, feeling drawn to Minseo in ways he had never anticipated. He had just begun to understand the kind of connection that flourished outside the boundaries set by wealth and status. Determined to find her, Jung-hoon visited the food stall where Minseo worked. The bustling energy of the street was a stark contrast to his polished world. Hearing her laughter from a distance, he felt a tug within him that he couldn't ignore. He approached her cautiously, heart racing, and finally said, "Minseo," gaining her attention. When their eyes met, an unspoken understanding passed between them, rich with promise. "I wasn't just playing around that night," he admitted, sincerity lacing every word. "You make me feel like I can be myself. Please, let's start over." Minseo hesitated, her heart caught in a whirlwind of emotions, but the warmth in his eyes flickered hope within her. They talked under the flickering lights of the stalls, sharing dreams and fears, laying bare the vulnerabilities that made them human. As their relationship deepened, they began to navigate the harsh realities of their worlds. Jung-hoon's family pressure to marry someone who reflected their status, and Minseo's worries of inadequacy. Conflict seeped into their story, bringing tension to their love as familial expectations threatened to tear them apart. "You don't understand," Jung-hoon confessed one evening, frustration etched in his expression. "I'm supposed to marry someone who can secure the family name, but all I want is you." Torn between duty and desire, but filled with new determination, Minseo spoke up. "I'm not asking you to abandon your world. I want to be a part of yours, but I can't be an accessory in your life." They navigated the labyrinth of emotions together, discovering that love required not just passion, but courage to fight for what felt right. As the festival lights twinkled around them one night, Jung-hoon took her hands in his voice trembling slightly. "Let's show them that love transcends all boundaries. What we have is real." Minseo looked into his eyes, a spark igniting within her, filling her heart with hope. They stood at the precipice of their futures, agreeing to face the world and their families together, leaning on one another's strengths. Their love blossomed amidst the challenges, bringing both joy and anxiety, but ultimately forging a path filled with tender moments and resilience. They learned that love was worth every fight, every scandal, and every doubt that threatened to pull them under. Subscribe to follow Minseo and Jung-hoon's heartwarming journey as they battle societal norms for their cherished love. Don't miss the next exciting episode filled with twists, revelations, and undeniable romance. A simple mistake can turn an ordinary night into a life-altering adventure. Minseo was charging through life with relentless determination, but that didn't stop her from feeling the weight of her reality. As a young woman working at her family's street food stall, she often daydreamed of escaping the grind of her daily routine. That dream almost seemed possible when her vibrant friend Ji-yoon convinced her to join a blind date at a fancy restaurant. Minseo hesitated, but eventually yielded to the excitement of trying something new. Dressed in her best outfit, although slightly ill-fitting, she entered the upscale place with wide eyes. The chandeliers sparkled like stars against the lush decor, creating a world that felt miles away from her own. As she scanned the room, her heart raced. Everyone around her looked effortlessly wealthy and happy. Just as she was beginning to doubt her decision, she spotted an empty seat at a table and quickly sat down, relieved at having a moment to gather her thoughts. What she didn't realize was that she had mistakenly taken a seat reserved for Jung-hoon, the handsome CEO of her company. Jung-hoon had been observing the shimmering chaos of the restaurant, his heart heavy with the weight of familial expectations. When he glanced up from his phone to see Min Seo sitting there, confusion melted quickly into intrigue. For a moment, their laughter floated in the air like a melody, bridging the gap between their very different worlds. Jung-hoon found himself enchanted, drawn to her authenticity amidst the crowd of pretense and privilege that usually surrounded him. However, their enchanting connection was abruptly interrupted when a colleague recognized Jung-hoon and sneered, "What are you doing here with a girl from the mailroom?" The words struck Min Seo like a blow, her heart sinking under the weight of judgment. Anger flared in her, fueled by embarrassment. She quickly stood up, shaking off the moment like a heavy cloak, and hurried out of the restaurant, tears threatening to spill. Jung-hoon felt a lump form in his throat as he watched her walk away, a mix of regret and frustration coursing through him. He hadn't meant for their golden evening to slip through his fingers so easily. Taking a deep breath, he made a decision. He couldn't let her go without trying to reach her. He followed her out into the night, calling her name, but the sound dissipated into the busy streets. The days that followed were a blur for Min Seo. Her mind kept drifting back to the moment with Jung-hoon, the connection they shared despite the glaring differences in their lives. Each time she served customers at the food stall, she felt a strange, aching emptiness. Conversely, Jung-hoon found himself unable to shake off Min Seo's laughter, her radiant energy clashing with the chill of his corporate world. Desperate to see her again, Jung-hoon searched for Min Seo at her family's food stall one afternoon. He was greeted by the familiar aroma of grilled meat and spice, but it was her smile that truly lit up the place. When she saw him, her heart fluttered. Shock mingled with a burgeoning hope. "What are you doing here?" she asked, trying to mask her emotions behind a facade of casual indifference. "I came to find you," he admitted, the sincerity in his eyes undeniable. "I couldn't stop thinking about our conversation. You see me for who I am, not the title I hold." Min Seo's heart softened. Their earlier connection rekindled as she took a tentative step closer. The space between them filled with unspoken words, a mixture of dreams and fears, longing and hesitation. Their relationship blossomed beneath the starlit city, with moments filled with laughter, shared food, and heart-wrenching confessions. But as their love grew, so did the obstacles. Jung-hoon faced rising pressure from his family to marry within their social circle, while Min Seo grappled with feelings of inadequacy. "How can you love someone like me?" she questioned, insecurity creeping into her voice one chilly evening. "Because you make me feel alive, Min Seo. You are everything my world isn't. Genuine, brave, full of love," Jung-hoon replied, cupping her face gently. The warmth of his words enveloped her, and for the first time, hope sparkled within her heart. Yet, the storm loomed closer when Jung-hoon's parents arranged a meeting with a wealthy heiress. The news struck him like lightning, and that evening he faced Min Seo. "I don't know how to choose," he confessed, pain shadowing his smile. "But I know that I will fight for you." Min Seo felt buoyed by his words, but also scared for what was to come. With their worlds colliding, they stood side by side, grounded by love, but facing fierce adversity. In a heartfelt moment filled with vulnerability under the city lights, they declared to one another that their love was worth every sacrifice. They made a pact to face whatever came together, determined to rewrite their story against all odds. Don't miss the next episode of their journey, where passion, heart, and struggle unite in a tale of love that defies the boundaries of class. Subscribe now and join Min Seo and Jung-hoon as they navigate the highs and lows of their unexpected romance. A fateful mistake can open doors to unexpected love. Min Seo had always led a life marked by simplicity and hard work. Living in a tiny apartment above her family's street food stall, she poured her heart into every dish they served, dreaming of a life filled with adventure and brighter days. When her friend Ji-yoon urged her to join a blind date at an upscale restaurant, nerves bubbled within her. Reluctantly, she agreed, confused yet curious about what awaited her outside her usual world. As she approached the lavish restaurant, the twinkling lights danced against the night sky, making her feel both out of place and exhilarated. The air filled with laughter and clinking glasses, a stark contrast to the daily grind she was used to. Dressed in a borrowed outfit that was a little too big, Min Seo stepped in, trying to suppress her anxiety. Amidst the bustling environment, she mistakenly settled at a table already occupied by Jung-hoon, the charming CEO of her company. Unbeknownst to her, he had been captivated by her spirit from the moment he laid eyes on her. Jung-hoon never imagined that a chance encounter with a girl from the street would lead to something so enchanting. He loved the way Min Seo approached life with laughter and zest. Their initial conversation flowed like a refreshing breeze, entwining their lives for that magical evening. As they shared stories, the contrast between them began to dissolve, forming an undeniable connection that broke free from societal expectations surrounding them. However, their bliss shattered when Jung-hoon's arrogant colleague recognized him and interrupted with a sneer. "Seriously? You're here with someone from the mailroom?" Min Seo's heart sank with embarrassment as shame washed over her. She felt as if the walls were closing in, reality crashing in around her. Anger bubbled within her, forcing her to stand abruptly and storm out of the restaurant, leaving Jung-hoon in shock, his heart heavy with regret. Outside, tears blurred Min Seo's vision as she hurried through the bustling streets, feeling lost. She wasn't just angry at him, she felt humiliated, and the world she thought she could explore felt unwelcoming again. Jung-hoon stood rooted at the table, frustration coursing through him. He hadn't realized how quickly their connection could be severed by the harsh judgments of others. Determined to make things right, he followed her into the night, searching for her amongst the crowd. Days turned into an agonizing blur as Min Seo returned to her routine, haunted by her feelings for Jung-hoon and the unexpected connection they had shared. Meanwhile, Jung-hoon couldn't ignore the magnetic pull he felt toward her. His world became increasingly unbearable, without Min Seo's laughter illuminating his days. In an act of courage, he decided to visit her food stall, the very heart of her world, hoping to find her and reconnect. The moment he approached, the savory aroma surrounded him like a warm embrace. Min Seo glanced up, her heart racing with a mix of surprise and fear. "What are you doing here?" she asked, her voice tinged with disbelief, yet hinting at the flicker of hope within her heart. "I came to apologize," Jung-hoon said earnestly, stepping closer, his sincerity radiating warmth. "I didn't want to lose you because of one moment. You mean more to me than anyone else." Min Seo felt the crack in her heart begin to mend as he spoke. "But can we really be together?" she questioned, vulnerability spilling from her lips. "You come from a world that feels so far from mine." "I'll fight for what I want," Jung-hoon replied, determination in his eyes. "And I want you." A flicker of longing ignited between them, bridging the gap that reality had forced them apart. They began spending time together amidst laughter, shared meals, and strolls through the park, unraveling their dreams and fears, revealing the strength of their connection with every moment. But as their love deepened, the pressure from Jung-hoon's family mounted, demanding he stay within their social circle. They arranged meetings with eligible heiresses, hoping to secure his future and family name. One evening, under the starlit sky, Jung-hoon found himself torn between love and obligation, facing Min Seo with a heavy heart. "I don't want to hurt you," he confessed, his voice breaking. "But I have to choose." Min Seo's heart raced as she listened, a tear escaping down her cheek. "You don't have to choose just yet. Let's find a way through this together. Love shouldn't be a prison, it should be a bridge." Her courage struck a chord deep within Jung-hoon, igniting a fire of resolve. They vowed to fight against societal expectations, crafting their own path filled with love and authenticity. Together, they would tear down the barriers standing in their way. In a heartfelt moment, he took her hands in his, promising, "No matter what, I will protect you and our love." The warmth of those words enveloped them like a comforting embrace, filling the night with hope. Subscribe now to join Min Seo and Jung-hoon on their adventure as they face the trials of love and family, finding joy and strength in each other's arms. The next episode promises to bring laughter, tears, and the thrill of defiance against the odds.